This video is brought to you by Robinhood, the free and easy to use investment and trading brokerage. Robinhood allows you to trade and buy stocks, ETFs, bonds, and cryptocurrencies completely free. Also, if you download using the link in the description below, you'll get one free stock valued up to $200 just for signing up. No, you don't have to deposit a dime, and you could become instantly a part owner in companies like Microsoft, Walmart, McDonald's, or Disney just by getting lucky. So download Robinhood today and start taking advantage of this historic 2020 stock market crash. No, that's not my full portfolio. You guys aren't ready for that just yet. What's up, YouTube? Capital G here. Got some superb duels for you guys to check out. You know how much I absolutely adore the Blind Goes Second OTK version of Crusadia, and we got some Crusadia duels for you guys to check out. I don't think that I've ever seen one that is quite as dank as this. I don't think anyone is going to be able to see this one coming. Anyways, he is dueling against the Junk Speeder deck. We know what this deck is all about. This deck wants to get Junk Speeder, have that thing load up your entire field, because you can summon what, like 4 or 5 monsters with that one card, and then you can make a lot of powerful synchro monsters. The card itself got so much better with Master Rule 5 because you don't have to rely on link monsters at all. Also, synchros in general as a mechanic didn't just get better from MR5, but we have Pot of Avarice now in the game, and Pot of Avarice was so good during the 5Ds era. I mean, ultimately Konami ended up banning it, but it's very strong as well now because you can draw into hand traps. And back during 5Ds, there was only like basically a Fact Veiler and DD Crow, but now we have even more cards because, you know, Konami has given us more powerful hand traps. Anyways, you guys can see the field that he's able to make. Definitely a solid field if I don't say so myself. You got Crystal Wing Synchro Dragon, one of your flagship synchro negation monsters, followed up by FA Down Dragster. This will cover your spells and traps for Crystal Wing to, you know, cover the monster effects. And then you have a nice little bounce ability with the Black Rose Moonlight Dragon. He did use Pot of Avarice. I think it's in the graveyard, and, you know, as I said, card super strong. It going from 1 to 3 is like, it makes a huge difference, to be honest. I still feel like that's been one of the biggest impacts when it comes to like the recent ban list. Look at decks like Zodiac, and Sky Striker that they run 3 copies of Avarice. Like, Avarice being at 1 and 3 is a huge difference. Anyways, it's gonna go to the Crusadia player, and this is obviously what changed the entire game, is drawing that kaiju, because now you can get rid of any one of these disruptions, and I think that you can actually start seeing a path to victory. So he's going to get rid of the FA Don Dragster, fair enough. He's going to then go for the Terraforming and the Mystic Mind play, and usually I'm like, oh lord, Mystic Mind, this card is so degenerate, but it's actually perfectly fine here. And in Crusadia specifically, it usually works in your favor, because not only can you kind of force a monster on your opponent's side of the field with the kaiju, you can make sure your opponent always has some monster, but Crusadia don't need that many monsters on field to basically play. They consolidate their resources into link monsters, then they just summon like 1 monster to its link point to constantly activate the effect. So Crusadia don't generally go over like 2 monsters in the span of their combo. Now this is where things are going to get interesting, because he went from Regilex into Link Cross, and I was like, this is a little weird. Usually you see Link Cross, which I hope is ultimately banned by the time Rise of the Duelist comes out, but usually when you see this card, it's in conjunction with Christian Halifibrax, and it allows people to wombo combo. But this dude's going for something way more dank than that. He's actually going to summon the token in attack mode, and once I saw that, I was like, what exactly are you doing? He's going to then take the Link Cross, he's going to convert it into a Secure Gardener because it is a Cyberse type, and then he's going to activate this Super Troll card. And I saw this and I was like, what exactly is this cheese? What is about to happen? He goes for Double-Edged Sword. So if you guys don't know what Double-Edged Sword is, it's a card that gives a monster 2000 attack, and then it makes both players take battle damage involving attacks with that monster. So what he's gonna do is he's gonna put it on the Crystal Wing Synchro Dragon, and I was like, uh-oh, it's really about to get dank in here. He's actually going to take the 0 attack Link Cross token, he's gonna ram it straight into the Crystal Wing. His opponent is going to take 5,000 damage. Some of you guys might be like, well, don't both players take 5,000? No, because the effect of Secure Gardener is going to kick in, and it blocks you from taking battle damage from 1 attack. So that actually means he ain't gonna take nothing. Then he's just going to crash his Secure Gardener into the Crystal Wing, and his opponent is going to die from that 4,000 damage. Now, to be honest, there's not a lot of times in Yu-Gi-Oh! In fact, I really can't think of any where both players take battle damage simultaneously. I mean, there's a few cards out there, but I wonder when both players take battle damage simultaneously, like who takes the damage first? Is it decided at the same time? Because I would imagine that this would cause a whole lot of ties, like the way the old school like GX version, or back during the DM days, Ring of Destruction used to do. So I'm not exactly sure on the rulings. On Edo Pro, his opponent took the damage first, but I don't know if that's actually accurate. For the grand scheme of this duel, it didn't even matter because his opponent was going to die anyways. But I'm just wondering if this card could end up causing a lot of draws, which, if you ever know like the history of Ring of Destruction, Konami really doesn't like cards that cause draws. Look at Self-Destruct Button. That's another card that got banned. Anyways, let's go ahead and roll the second one. So this one's going to be pretty damn crazy as well. You guys know, anytime you go second against Mermail, you can just kind of assume you're going to lose 2 cards out of your hand. It used to be, all right, well, hope that they don't open with Diva or that they don't open with Nephthybis. I guess technically you can say 1 for 1 because that's like another version of Nephthybis essentially. But now Diva is at 3, and just like Pot of Avarice, a card being at 3 versus being at 1 is a huge difference. So now it's like when you play against Mermail, just assume that they're going to open with Nephthybis. And usually they can rip a couple of cards out of your hand, because it's very easy to search out Moon Glacier. This was actually pretty interesting. That was such a cool play. So he goes into the Bujin Arashima, which is the Bujin Link monster, and he's actually going to reborn an Atlantean Dragoons. That's such a sick play because obviously now he can go for Bahamut Shark. I believe that actually triggers the Dragoons and gives him a totally awesome at the same time, which, oh my goodness, this is just absolutely ridiculous. He's going to search Moon Glacier, as every Mermail player does in their first turn. That means 2 cards are getting taken out of your hand, and it looks like he's in a pretty good position. Coral Anemone is going to be the follow-up, and then he's going to pass. So I'm going to say that this is a pretty good board. It may only have 1 hard negation on it, but you're also taking 2 cards out of your opponent's hand. So they're not working with 6 cards, they're only working with 4 cards. However, as we learned in the last duel, Crusadia can do that. And actually, oh my goodness, is he really working with 4 cards? Because he drew Mare, and that's obviously a brick. Let's see what he can do. He's going to summon that Gizmek, and luckily it's going to be able to find its mark. I thought maybe the Toad would negate it, but he must have felt like, hey, it's not that big of a deal. I'm not going to use my Toad next, or I'm not going to use my Toad yet. He's going to summon his Magius. Then he's going to go for Reclusa, and this can actually force out the Totally Awesome because you activate the effect, you target the Toad basically has to negate that, and then you're still able to get the Magius Surge. And usually you can get like Draco, Special Draco. I think Draco gets 1 back from the graveyard, and you can just start kind of comboing. Now, I hadn't seen people play the Guard Dragon build of Crusadia in quite some time, but it does still have a very high ceiling, and you can actually do some pretty crazy stuff. Sorry, you just Skull Dread a card. Again, haven't seen them in a little while, but he is going to go for the Parallel Exceed. This is a card that can get more copies of itself, so this is just going to give him more material for them link summons and all that good stuff. And now once you kaiju your opponent, and you have your copy at equal max, it's pretty much a wrap because I believe he's going to do double battle damage at this point. And if your opponent has any small monsters on the field, even though your attack isn't that high, it doesn't matter because you're doing double battle damage. And yeah, you can't leave like a 1500 attack monster on the field in attack position if you're dueling against Crusadia, because they can just one-shot you. They'll kaiju you. They'll put the kaiju at the link point of equal max. If they have Maximus, they're getting double battle damage. The kaiju is going to just give the equal max a good amount of attack, and then they'll just one-shot you through 1 attack position monster. And usually it's just a very easy GG no re. Anyways, let's pause for 1 quick second. Let's check out that first build of the actually, you know what, let's just check out both builds. So this is the dank version that you guys saw in the first duel, and by the way, bless the guys at Edo Pro, the guys from the Percy team, for finally adding in the function to export the decks from the duels. It makes it so much easier as a content creator. I used to have to use Yu-Gi-Oh! Pro 2 because it was the only simulator that had that function, and I was just hoping for ages that they would put it in the Percy, and now they finally put it in the Edo Pro. Anyways, so if you guys thought that it was just a fluke with the double-edged sword, I guess not, because he's seriously selling out for this win condition. He's running 3 copies of this thing. I mean, I guess when you think about it, like, Blind Go Second Crusadia is already an OTK deck, so if you can't pull off that OTK, you know, you can double down on the double-edged sword cheese. potential of it. He also has the Mystic Minds in here, which I definitely like. We saw that in the duel. Just a powerful go second card in general, and you have multiple ways of getting to it with set rotation and also terraforming. He's playing some kaijus, which are always kind of staple, but then you also run Interrupted Slumber, and he does have some back removal in here as well. The other version is more like, it's a little more dragon based. You are running some stuff to go into like the Guard Dragons, Ranryu. Yeah, I haven't really seen the Guard Dragon build of Crusadia in quite some time, because that build was more, it was like people like to go first with it more, but you can see that this build is still primarily focused on going second with the Gizmek and the Lightning Storms, and still the Kaiju packets, the Dino Wrestler, Pankratops in the main deck. This is still a build that wants to go second. I see the Mare. I'm not completely sold on it. I mean, I guess you can synchro because Arborea, for some reason, is a tuner. I've never really understood why she's a tuner, because Crusadia is a link-based archetype. They have no synchro monsters. I really don't get why she's a tuner. There's like another archetype. Oh yeah, Orcus. Orcus have tuners too, and I don't understand that either. But this archetype randomly has a tuner, so I guess it's want to cash in and be able to go for the Yazzie play. I mean, don't get me wrong, it has a high ceiling when you can pull off the Mare Yazzie play, because you get Boral Sword Dragon, which is not actually in here, but whatever. You get a lot of stuff for link materials, but I mean, when you do draw that brick in your opening hand, it does hurt. But actually in the duel we saw, it didn't even matter at all. Anyways, if you guys want to download these decks, of course, they'll be in the description below. Thank you guys for watching. As always, subscribe if you have not already, and turn on that notification bell for daily videos.